Captain Jae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Iron Resolve, watching the stars through the massive viewing screen. The ship was huge, almost 2 kilometers long, with thick armor plating and weapons that could destroy entire cities. It had been his home for 3 years now, patrolling the edge of human space where no one else dared to go. The Iron Resolve was not just any warship. It was a dreadnought, the biggest and most powerful type of ship humans had ever built. Its hull was made of compressed titanium and carbon fiber, strong enough to survive hits from nuclear weapons. Along its sides were hundreds of railguns that could fire metal slugs at incredible speeds. The ship also carried plasma cannons, missile tubes, and experimental quantum torpedoes that could tear holes in reality itself. "Captain, we're getting something strange on the long-range sensors," said First Officer Soo-Jin Lee. She was young but smart, and Jae-ho trusted her completely. Soo-Jin had graduated at the top of her class from the Naval Academy and could read sensor data better than anyone he knew. Jae-ho walked over to her station and looked at the display. The readings showed an energy pattern that didn't make sense. It was coming from the Kepler 442 system, about 5 light-years away from their current position. "What do you think it is?" Jae-ho asked. "I don't know, sir. It's not natural. The energy signature is too organized, too controlled. But it's not human technology either. I've never seen anything like it." Chief Engineer Dong-Woo Park looked up from his console. He was a thin man with messy hair who loved machines more than people. "Captain, those readings are impossible. Nothing we know can generate that kind of energy pattern. It's like someone built a star and then taught it how to dance." Communications Officer Hai-Jin Choi turned in her chair. She was responsible for all the ship's communication systems and spoke 12 different human languages. "Sir, I'm not picking up any signals from that direction. No radio, no laser communication, nothing. If there's someone out there, they're not talking." Marine Colonel Tae-min Yoon stepped onto the bridge. He was a big man with scars on his face from fighting in the Outer Colony Wars. His job was to protect the ship and lead the ground troops if they ever needed to fight on a planet. "Captain, my men are ready if you need us. Whatever's out there, we can handle it." Jae-ho thought about what to do. The Iron Resolve was on a routine patrol mission. They were supposed to check the outer systems for pirates or smugglers, then return to Earth. But this was different. If there was some new technology out there, Earth Command needed to know about it. "How long would it take us to reach the Kepler 442 system?" he asked. Soo-Jin checked her calculations. "At maximum speed, about 8 hours, sir." "Are we ready for a long-range jump?" Jae-ho asked Dong-Woo. The engineer nodded. "The jump drive is working perfectly. I checked it myself this morning. We can make the trip without any problems." Jae-ho made his decision. "Set course for Kepler 442. We're going to investigate." The crew began preparing for the jump. The Iron Resolve had a special engine that could fold space and allow the ship to travel faster than light. It was dangerous technology that required perfect timing and lots of energy. "All stations, prepare for jump," Soo-Jin announced over the ship's communication system. In the engine room, Dong-Woo watched his instruments carefully. The jump drive was charging up, building the energy needed to tear a hole in spacetime. "Jump drive at 50%, he reported. 70%, 90%, ready for jump." "Execute," Jae-ho ordered. Space twisted around the Iron Resolve. Stars became lines of light, then disappeared completely. For a moment that felt like forever, the ship existed in a place between places, where normal physics didn't work. Then reality snapped back, and they were in the Kepler 442 system. "Jump successful," Dong-Woo reported. "All systems normal." Soo-Jin was already scanning the area with the ship's powerful sensors. "Captain, I'm reading 3 objects near the gas giant. They're artificial, definitely not natural." "Put it on screen," Jae-ho ordered. The viewing screen showed 3 ships unlike anything humans had ever built. They were sleek and smooth, made of what looked like crystal or glass. They glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Each ship was about half the size of the Iron Resolve, but they moved with impossible grace. "My God," whispered Hee-Jin, "they're beautiful." They're also moving toward us, Sujin reported. Fast, they'll reach us in 10 minutes. Intelligence Officer Wu Jin Nam stepped forward. He was quiet and thoughtful, always analyzing everything around him. Captain, their formation suggests they're military vessels. They're positioning themselves to surround us. Are they trying to communicate? Jae-ho asked Hyejin. No, sir. No signals on any frequency. They're completely silent. Weapons officer. Kyung-Soo Han checked his systems. He was a former artillery specialist who knew every weapon on the ship. All weapons are ready, Captain. Should I target them? Not yet, Jae-ho said. We don't know if they're hostile. Chief Medical Officer. Bo Young-song looked up from her medical station. She was also the ship's expert on alien life, though she had never expected to actually meet any. Captain, this is incredible. We're looking at proof that we're not alone in the universe. The 3 alien ships continued their approach. They moved in perfect formation, like dancers performing a deadly ballet. As they got closer, the Iron Resolve sensors could see more details. The ships had no visible weapons, but their hulls showed signs of advanced technology that humans couldn't understand. 5 minutes until they reach us, Sujin reported. Still, no communication attempts, added Hyejin. Jae-ho felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He was about to make first contact with an alien species. Whatever happened next would change human history forever. He thought about his training, about all the books and simulations about first contact situations. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. All hands, this is the captain, he announced over the ship's communication system. We are about to make contact with what appears to be an alien species. This is a historic moment. Everyone stay calm and follow orders. We represent all of humanity right now. The 3 alien ships were almost close enough to touch. Their blue glow was getting brighter, and strange energy readings were coming from their hulls. Whatever happened next, Jae-ho knew that nothing would ever be the same. The 3 alien ships stopped just outside weapon range of the Iron Resolve. Captain Jae-ho Kim watched them carefully through the viewing screen. The crystal ships hung in space like jewels, their blue light pulsing in a rhythm that seemed almost like breathing. They're scanning us, reported First Officer Soo-Jin Lee. I can feel their sensors washing over our hull. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Can we scan them back? Asked Jae-ho. Already doing it, sir. Their ships are made of some kind of living crystal. The material is incredibly advanced. It seems to bend energy around itself. On one of the alien vessels, Fleet Commander Velthara studied the massive human ship. The Velnari were a proud warrior race who had conquered dozens of star systems. Their ships used energy weapons and force shields, technology that had served them well for thousands of years. But this human vessel was different. It was crude and primitive, built of simple metal, yet it was enormous. What do you make of it? Velthara asked her science officer. It's barbaric, Commander. No energy shields, no plasma conduits, just thick armor and primitive kinetic weapons. But the size, it's 3 times larger than our biggest warship. Velthara felt insulted. How dare these primitive creatures enter Velnari space with such a crude vessel? Did they think size alone could intimidate the mighty Velnari hegemony? On the Iron Resolve, Communications Officer Hyejin Choi tried everything she could think of to establish contact. She broadcast greetings in 12 human languages, then tried mathematical sequences, musical patterns, and basic pictures. The alien ships remained silent. Nothing, Captain. They're not responding to any of our signals. Intelligence Officer Wu Jin Nam studied the alien formation. Sir, they're positioning themselves to surround us. This looks like a classic military maneuver. I think they consider us a threat. Chief Engineer Dongwoo Park was fascinated by the alien technology. Captain, their engines are incredible. They're using some kind of crystal matrix to manipulate space-time directly. It's like they've turned physics into art. That's all very interesting, said Marine Colonel Tae-min Yoon. But I don't like the way they're moving. My gut tells me they're getting ready to attack. Weapons Officer Kyung-Soo Han kept his finger near the firing controls. All weapons ready, Captain. The railguns are loaded and the plasma batteries are charged. On the lead Velnari ship, Fleet Commander Velthara made her decision. These humans had entered her territory without permission. Their ship was clearly a warship, probably sent to scout Velnari defenses. She would give them one warning, then destroy them if they didn't retreat. Charge the primary energy beam, she ordered. Fire a warning shot across their bow. The lead. Alien ship's hull began to glow brighter. Energy built up in crystal formations along its sides. Then a beam of pure blue light shot out, passing just in front of the Iron Resolve's nose. The energy beam was incredibly powerful, hot enough to melt rock instantly. "They're firing on us," shouted Sujin. The warning shot hit the Iron Resolve's forward armor plating. The energy beam, designed to cut through normal metal, barely scratched the compressed titanium hull. But Jae-ho didn't know it was a warning shot. All he saw was an alien weapon firing at his ship. "Return fire," he ordered. "Target the lead. Ship." Kyung-soo didn't hesitate. He aimed one of the Iron Resolve's main railguns at the alien vessel and pulled the trigger. The railgun fired a tungsten slug the size of a telephone pole at 15% the speed of light. The kinetic projectile hit the Velnari ship in less than a second. The alien vessel's energy shields were designed to stop plasma beams and particle weapons. They had never been tested against simple matter moving at such incredible speed. The tungsten slug punched through the crystal hull like it was made of paper. It passed through the entire ship in a millisecond, taking most of the vessel with it. The beautiful crystal ship exploded in a flash of blue light and scattered debris. On the remaining two alien ships, the crews stared in horror. Fleet Commander Velthara was dead. Her entire ship was gone, destroyed by a single primitive projectile. The Velnari had forgotten that sometimes the simplest weapons were the most deadly. "By the crystal throne," whispered the captain of the second ship. "What kind of monsters are these humans?" "Their weapon. It wasn't energy-based at all. It was just a piece of metal moving very fast," reported his science officer. "Our shields can't stop solid matter at those speeds." Chief Medical Officer Bo Young-song watched the alien ship's destruction with mixed feelings. As a doctor, she was sad to see lives lost. As a scientist, she was amazed by what she had witnessed. "Captain, we just learned something important about their technology. Their shields don't work against kinetic weapons." "My God," said Hyejin, "we just killed people. Aliens, but still people." Intelligence Officer Woo Jin was already analyzing the situation. "Sir, the other two ships are broadcasting on all frequencies. They're sending what sounds like distress calls." "Can you understand any of it?" asked Jae-ho. Ye-jin worked frantically with her computer systems. The translation software is trying to find patterns. "I'm getting words like metal demons and planet killers. I think they're calling for help." The two remaining Velnari ships began to retreat. They had come to investigate what they thought was a primitive warship. Instead, they had found something that could destroy their most advanced vessels with a single shot. "Sir, they're running away," reported Sujin. Jae-ho felt sick to his stomach. He had just started a war with an alien species. One moment of misunderstanding had led to death and destruction, but he also knew he had protected his ship and crew. "Should we pursue them?" asked Taiman. "No. Let them go. We've done enough damage for one day." Engineer Dongwoo was studying the debris from the destroyed alien ship. "Captain, I'm reading some interesting energy signatures in the wreckage. If we could get a sample, we might learn a lot about their technology." "Do it. But be quick about it. We need to get out of here before they come back with reinforcements." The Iron Resolve moved carefully through the debris field. The crew collected pieces of the alien ship's crystal hull and several damaged components. Each piece was a treasure trove of advanced technology that could advance human science by decades. Ties. They worked. The two surviving alien ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel, carrying news of the human monsters back to their home worlds. Neither the humans nor the aliens realized it yet, but this brief battle would change the galaxy forever. "Course back to Earth, Captain?" asked Sujin. Jae-ho nodded. "Maximum speed. Command needs to know what happened here." The Iron Resolve jumped back into hyperspace, leaving behind an empty battlefield and the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. The age of human isolation was over. The news spread across Velnari space like wildfire. 2 surviving ships had returned with impossible stories about metal demons and planet-killing weapons. At first, the Velnari High Command didn't believe them. How could a primitive species, with crude technology, destroy one of their most advanced warships? War Marshal Cronus stood in the crystal halls of the Velnari capital, studying the sensor recordings from the battle. The data was clear. A single kinetic projectile had destroyed a ship that should have been invulnerable to such primitive weapons. "This is impossible," he growled to his advisors. "Our shields have protected us for 1,000 years. No kinetic weapon should be able to penetrate them." "The humans don't use energy weapons, Marshal," explained his science officer. "Their projectile was just metal moving at incredible speed. Our shields were never designed to stop solid matter. Then we adapt. We build new shields that can stop their weapons." "Sir, to stop a projectile moving that fast would require shields so powerful they would drain our entire energy grid. It would be like trying to stop a meteor with a soap bubble." Word of the encounter reached the Galactic Confederation within days. The Confederation was a loose alliance of 47 different alien species that had maintained peace for over 300 years. Their capital was a massive space station called Unity Hub, where representatives from all member worlds worked together to solve problems. High Counselor Zephan was an Etherian, a species that looked like tall, graceful humans made of living light. She had led the Confederation for 50 years and believed that any problem could be solved through careful diplomacy. War Marshal Cronus requests immediate military action against this human threat, she announced to the assembled council. He wants to send a fleet to contain them before they can spread their violent ways. Science Director Omesh, representing the Crystalline Collective, flickered with different colors as he spoke. "I have analyzed the battle data. These humans use technology we abandoned centuries ago. Kinetic weapons are barbaric and wasteful, but they are also effective against our current defenses." A representative from the Peaceful Harmony world stood up. "Perhaps we should try to communicate with them first. They may not realize they have committed an act of war. They destroyed one of our ships without provocation." War Marshal Cronus slammed his fist on the council table. "They are clearly a violent, aggressive species that will only understand force." Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Young Ho Shin sat in the Terran Defense Council chambers, listening to Captain J. Ho Kim's report. The room was filled with the most important military and political leaders on the planet. "You're telling us that we're not alone in the universe," said President Yoon-Ji Park, "and that our first contact with aliens resulted in us destroying one of their ships?" "Yes, ma'am," replied J-Ho. "But they fired first. My officer interpreted their energy beam as an attack." General Hoseo Kim, J-Ho's older brother, studied the tactical data. "Their ships are more advanced than ours in most ways, but they have a critical weakness. They've forgotten how to defend against kinetic weapons. So what you're saying is that our primitive railguns are actually superior to their energy weapons?" asked Admiral Shin. "In this specific situation, yes, sir. Their shields are designed to stop energy-based attacks. Against solid projectiles moving at high speeds, they might as well be made of glass." Dr. Su-Min Yang, Earth's leading expert on theoretical alien life, was fascinated by the implications. "This suggests that their entire military doctrine evolved differently from ours. They probably use energy weapons exclusively." "The question is," said President Park, "what do we do now? Do we prepare for war or try to make peace?" The council was divided. Half wanted to immediately build more warships and prepare Earth's defenses. The other half argued for sending diplomatic missions to try to establish peaceful contact. Back on the Iron Resolve, Chief Engineer Dongwoo Park worked tirelessly in his laboratory, studying the alien debris they had collected. The crystal technology was incredibly advanced. It seemed to be grown rather than built, with structures that changed and adapted based on their function. "This is amazing," he told Chief Medical Officer Bo Young Song. "Their ships aren't just machines. They're almost alive. The crystal matrix can repair itself, adapt to new threats, and even evolve new capabilities. But it couldn't adapt fast enough to stop our railgun, Bo-Young observed. Exactly. Evolution takes time. Our kinetic weapons work faster than their technology can respond. Communications Officer Hai-Jin Choi had been working on translating the alien transmissions. She had made some progress understanding their language, which seemed to be based on musical tones and light patterns. "I think I'm starting to understand some of their words," she reported to Captain Jeho. "They keep using terms that translate to metal death and void hunters. I think they're genuinely terrified of us." "Terrified? Of us?" asked First Officer Su-Jin Lee. "Think about it from their perspective," explained Intelligence Officer Woo-Jin Nam. "They've probably had energy-based weapons for so long that they forgot kinetic weapons could be effective. To them, our railguns must seem like magic." At the Unity Hub, the Galactic Confederation was making its decision. Despite High Counselor Zephin's efforts to promote diplomacy, fear won over wisdom. War Marshal Cronus convinced the Council that humans were a threat that had to be contained immediately. "We will assemble a containment fleet," announced Zephin reluctantly. 200 ships from 15 different member species. We will establish a perimeter around human space and demand that they surrender their weapons. Science Director Omesh flickered with concern. "Counselor, based on the battle data, 200 of our ships might not be enough. Their kinetic weapons are more effective than we initially believed. Then we will bring 400 ships if necessary. We cannot allow a violent species to threaten the peace we have worked so hard to build." What none of the aliens realized was that humans had been preparing for war their entire history. While the Galactic Confederation had enjoyed centuries of peace, humans had spent the same time perfecting the art of destruction. The Iron Resolve was not unique. It was one of 12 identical dreadnoughts in the Terran fleet. Admiral Young-Ho Shin stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital shipyard, watching construction crews work on the newest warships. The alien threat had unified Earth's nations like nothing ever had before. Resources that had been tied up in politics were now flowing freely to the military. "How many ships can we field if this comes to war?" he asked General Ho-Seok Kim. 50. Major warships including the 12 dreadnoughts, plus 300 smaller vessels, destroyers, cruisers, and frigates. "But Admiral, we're outnumbered at least 4-1. "Numbers don't always win wars, General. Sometimes it comes down to who has the better weapons and the will to use them." Captain Jeho Kim requested permission to return to the outer systems with a small task force. He wanted to establish monitoring stations to watch for alien activity. What he didn't know was that the Galactic Confederation was already mobilizing the largest fleet in its history. The galaxy was heading toward its first major war in 3 centuries, and it would be fought between species who fundamentally misunderstood each other. The Confederation saw humans as violent barbarians who needed to be contained. Humans saw aliens as aggressors who had fired first. Both sides were preparing for a conflict that neither really wanted, but both felt they had no choice but to fight. 3 months after the first encounter, the Galactic Confederation fleet reached the edge of human space. It was the largest armada ever assembled in galactic history. 200 ships from 15 different species, all united in their fear of human kinetic weapons. High Counselor Zephin stood on the bridge of the flagship, a massive Etherian vessel called the Harmony of Lights. She had hoped to resolve this conflict through diplomacy, but War Marshal Cronus had convinced the Council that only overwhelming force would make the humans listen to reason. "Deploy the containment formation," ordered Cronus. "No human ship leaves this system without our permission." The alien fleet spread out in a perfect sphere around the outer edge of the solar system. Their ships were beautiful, crystal vessels that glowed with inner light, sleek metal craft that bent space around them, and living ships that pulsed with organic energy. On Earth, President Yoon-Ji Park made the decision to send a diplomatic mission. Despite pressure from military leaders to respond with force, she believed that peace was still possible. "We'll send the Soul's Pride with Ambassador Mi-Young Kang," she announced to the Defense Council. "She's our best first contact specialist." Admiral Young-Ho Shin didn't like it. "Ma'am, 1 light cruiser against 200 alien ships? They could destroy her before she even gets close enough to talk. That's a risk we have to take, Admiral. If we respond with warships, they'll assume we want to fight. The Soul's Pride was a small, elegant vessel designed for exploration and diplomacy. Captain Jinwoo Lim commanded a crew of only 50 people, and the ship carried minimal weapons. Ambassador Mi Young Kang had spent her entire career preparing for first contact situations, but nothing had prepared her for this. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet," reported the communications officer. "They're ordering us to stop and prepare to be boarded." "Send our diplomatic codes," ordered Ambassador Kang. "Tell them we come in peace and request a meeting with their leaders." What the humans didn't know was that Admiral Shin had quietly positioned the Iron Resolve and 2 sister ships just outside sensor range. Captain Jae-ho Kim watched the diplomatic meeting from the shadows, ready to intervene if necessary. The meeting took place in neutral space, aboard a specially configured Confederation vessel. Ambassador Kang and Captain Lim were escorted by armed guards to a conference room where High Counselor Zephyr and War Marshal Cronus waited. "Welcome, humans," said Zephyr, her light form shimmering with diplomatic colors. "I am High Counselor Zephyr of the Galactic Confederation. We have come to discuss the recent incident in Velnari space." Ambassador Kang bowed respectfully. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. I am Ambassador Mi Young Kang, representing Earth and all human colonies. We deeply regret the loss of life that occurred during our first contact." "War?" Marshal Cronus leaned forward aggressively. "Your regret does not bring back the warriors you murdered. Your species has demonstrated that it is violent and untrustworthy." "With respect, Marshal, your ships fired first. Our captain acted in self-defense." "A warning shot!" Cronus slammed his fist on the table. "It was clearly a warning shot, and you responded with overwhelming force." "How were we supposed to know it was a warning? We had no way to communicate with your ships. From our perspective, alien vessels had surrounded us and opened fire. High Counselor Zephyr tried to keep the peace." Both sides misunderstood the situation. What matters now is preventing future conflicts. The Confederation is prepared to offer humanity membership in our alliance, but first you must abandon your primitive kinetic weapons. Ambassador Kang was shocked. "You want us to disarm completely?" "Your weapons are too dangerous," explained Zephyr. "They can penetrate our defenses too easily. For the safety of all species in the galaxy, kinetic weapons must be banned." "We cannot and will not disarm while facing a hostile fleet," said Ambassador Kang firmly. "If you want peace, withdraw your ships and let us establish proper diplomatic relations." War Marshal Cronus stood up angrily. "You are in no position to make demands. Our fleet outnumbers your forces 10 to 1. Actually, Marshal, I think you should check your sensors again." Captain Jae-ho Kim's voice came over the communication system as the Iron Resolve and her 2 sister ships dropped their stealth fields. The 3 massive dreadnoughts appeared on the alien sensors like ghosts materializing from the void. "This is Captain Jae-ho Kim of the UES Iron Resolve. Ambassador, are you safe?" The alien officers stared in shock at their displays. 3 of the deadly human warships had been hiding just outside detection range. Each one was capable of destroying dozens of their vessels. "How many more ships are you hiding?" demanded Cronus. "That would be telling," replied Jae-ho calmly. "But I assure you attacking our diplomatic mission would be a very bad idea." Ambassador Kang used the moment of shock to press her advantage. "The Confederation fleet is in human territory without permission. You have threatened our diplomatic vessel and demanded our surrender. These are acts of war." High Counselor Zephyr tried to calm the situation. "Ambassador, we seek only to establish peaceful relations. Surely we can find a compromise. We're willing to discuss trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense pacts," said Ambassador Kang. "But we will not disarm, and we will not submit to foreign authority." War Marshal Cronus had heard enough. "If you will not surrender your weapons voluntarily, we will take them by force." The Velnari officer signaled his flagship to open fire on the Soul's Pride. The diplomatic vessel's shields flared as energy beams struck its hull. All human ships defend the Soul's Pride, ordered Captain Jeho. The Iron Resolve's response was swift and devastating. 20 railguns fired simultaneously, sending tungsten slugs screaming through space at relativistic speeds. 6 Confederation ships exploded in brilliant flashes as the kinetic projectiles punched through their hulls. The other 2 human dreadnoughts, the Iron Will and Iron Fury, added their firepower to the battle. Each ship carried enough weapons to level a city, and their railguns could punch through any known armor or shielding. The Confederation fleet was in chaos. Their energy weapons were effective against the human shields, but the dreadnought's thick armor could absorb tremendous damage. Meanwhile, every human shot was a guaranteed kill. "Fall back, all ships fall back," ordered High Counselor Zephin. War Marshal Cronus watched his fleet retreat in disorder. In less than 5 minutes, the humans had destroyed 18 ships and damaged 30 more. His overwhelming force had been scattered by 3 enemy vessels. "How is this possible?" he asked his science officer. "Their weapons are too fast, sir. We can't dodge kinetic projectiles moving at that speed, and our shields can't stop them. It would be like trying to stop a comet with a butterfly net." The Soul's Pride limped back to Earth with critical damage to its hull. Ambassador Mi Young Kang's mission had failed, but she had learned something important about their enemies. "They're not evil," she reported to President Park. "They're scared. Their entire way of war is based on energy weapons and force fields. Our railguns are like magic to them, impossible to defend against." Admiral Young Ho Shin studied the battle reports with satisfaction. 3 ships against 200 and we won decisively. If this comes to full war, we might actually have a chance. Captain J-Ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Iron Resolve, watching the alien fleet retreat to the edge of the solar system. The aliens hadn't left entirely. They were setting up a blockade to prevent human ships from leaving Earth's system. "Sir," reported First Officer Soo-Jin Lee, "long-range sensors are detecting more alien ships arriving. They're bringing reinforcements." Intelligence. Officer Woo Jin Nam analyzed the tactical situation. "They're learning from their mistakes. The new ships are staying at extreme range, probably trying to develop new tactics against our weapons." The battle at the diplomatic meeting had solved nothing. If anything, it had made the situation worse. Both sides now knew that peaceful resolution was impossible. The Galactic Confederation would never accept humans as equals while they possessed such devastating weapons, and humanity would never disarm while facing a hostile alien alliance. War was coming, and the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the failed diplomatic meeting, the galaxy had changed completely. The Galactic Confederation was fracturing as member species questioned their leaders' handling of the human crisis. Some aliens had grown tired of Velnari dominance and saw humanity as a potential alternative to Confederation rule. The first species to secretly contact Earth were the Kethani, a race of peaceful traders who controlled several important shipping routes. Their ambassador, an insect-like creature named Victor, met with President Yoonji Park in secret. "My people have watched your conflict with the Confederation," Victor clicked in broken English. "We are tired of War Marshal Cronus and his demands for tribute. Perhaps humans would make better protectors than Velnari overlords." "We're not interested in becoming overlords," President Park replied carefully. "But we would welcome trade agreements and mutual defense pacts." "Defense. Yes. The Confederation demands we give up 20% of our profits as protection fees. What would humans ask for?" "Nothing. Trade should benefit both parties equally." Word of the secret negotiations spread quickly through the galactic underground. Species that had been oppressed by the Confederation's complex bureaucracy and military demands began reaching out to Earth through hidden channels. Admiral Young Ho Shin found himself promoted to Supreme Commander of the new Terran Expeditionary Force. His job was to establish humanity's first permanent presence in deep space and protect their growing list of alien allies. "We need a base of operations," he told General Hoseok Kim during a planning meeting. "Somewhere far from Earth but close enough to our new allies that we can respond quickly to threats." "What about the Proxima system?" suggested Captain J-Ho. Kim, who had been promoted to admiral after his heroic actions. It's only 4 light-years from Earth, and there's a suitable asteroid belt for mining operations. Perfect. Admiral Kim, I'm putting you in charge of establishing our first deep space naval base. Take the Iron Resolve and a construction fleet. Meanwhile, the Galactic Confederation was struggling with internal problems. High Counselor Zephin had been forced to resign after the military disaster. War Marshal Cronus now controlled the Council, directly, but his harsh policies were driving more species away from the Confederation. 17 member worlds have withdrawn from the Alliance in the past month, reported Science Director Omesh. They're all requesting human protection. Then, we destroy them. Cronus slammed his fist on the table. Any species that collaborates with the human menace will be treated as traitors. With respect, Marshal, we don't have enough ships left to fight a war on multiple fronts. The humans have destroyed over 100 of our vessels in small skirmishes. It was true. Human patrol ships had been intercepting Confederation vessels that tried to pressure former member worlds. Each encounter ended the same way. Alien ships destroyed or forced to retreat by devastating kinetic weapons. Dr. Bo Young Song, now promoted to Director of Xenological Research, established the galaxy's first interspecies research station, in orbit around Proxima Centauri. Scientists from 12 different species worked together to share knowledge and develop new technologies. It's amazing, she told Admiral Jae-ho Kim during one of his visits. The Cathani have developed biological computers that think faster than our quantum processors. The Harmony worlds have gravity manipulation technology that could revolutionize space travel. And what are we sharing with them? Our manufacturing techniques, mostly. It turns out that our assembly line methods can produce goods much faster than their artisanal approaches. Also, our medical technology is surprisingly advanced, compared to most species. The research station became a symbol of the new galactic order, different species working together as equals rather than being controlled by a single dominant power. Captain Sujin Lee, now commanding her own dreadnought called the Iron Justice, led a patrol mission to investigate reports of Confederation attacks on civilian shipping. Her ship represented the new generation of human vessels, slightly smaller than the original Iron Resolve, but faster and more heavily armed. Captain, we're receiving a distress call from a Cathani cargo convoy, reported her communications officer. They're under attack by Velnari raiders. Set course to intercept. Maximum speed. The Iron Justice dropped out of hyperspace just as 3 Velnari warships were preparing to board a damaged cargo vessel. The alien pirates had learned to be more careful since their first encounters with human ships. They kept their distance and used long-range energy weapons. But Sujin had learned too. The Iron Justice carried a new weapon, experimental quantum torpedoes that could punch holes in space-time itself. Fire quantum torpedoes, all tubes. 6 twisted points of light streaked toward the Velnari ships. The torpedoes didn't just destroy their targets. They erased them from existence, leaving behind only empty space where the pirate vessels had been. My God, whispered Sujin's first officer. Those weapons are terrifying. They're necessary, Sujin replied grimly. The Confederation only understands force. News of the quantum torpedo attack spread throughout the galaxy in hours. The weapons were so devastating that they frightened even some of humanity's allies. A single torpedo could destroy an entire city, and the Iron Justice had fired 6 of them without hesitation. High Counselor Ray Shaw of the Harmony Worlds contacted President Park with her concerns. These new weapons of yours are incredibly powerful. Some of my people are worried that humans might become the very tyrants we're trying to escape from. I understand your concerns, President Park replied, but we only use these weapons against military targets that threaten our allies. We have no desire to conquer or control other species. Actions speak louder than words, President Park. What guarantees can you give us? The question led to the creation of the Human Protectorate Charter, a document that formally outlined humanity's relationship with its alien allies. Unlike the Confederation's complex hierarchy, the Protectorate was based on simple principles: mutual defense, free trade, and respect for each species' independence. We're not trying to build an empire, President Park announced at the charter signing ceremony. We're offering protection to species that want to remain free from Confederation tyranny. 27 species signed the charter on the first day. By the end of the month, 41 worlds had joined the human protectorate. Admiral Jae-ho Kim stood on the observation deck of Proxima Station, watching construction crews work on humanity's newest warships. The shipyard was a joint effort between humans and their alien allies, combining the best technology from multiple species. It's hard to believe this all started with a single patrol mission, said Chief Engineer Dong-Woo Park, who now supervised the construction of the entire fleet. Sometimes the smallest actions have the biggest consequences, Jae-ho replied. One misunderstanding led to war, and war led to this. Is this better than peace? It's better than the peace the Confederation offered. They wanted to rule through fear and control. We're offering something different. Partnership based on mutual respect. First officer, now captain, Soo-Jin Lee joined them at the observation window. Admiral, we've received word that the Confederation is massing a new fleet. 300 ships this time, led by War Marshal Cronus himself. Let them come, Jae-ho said calmly. We have 41 member worlds now, and each one is building ships using human weapon technology. Cronus is about to learn that kinetic weapons aren't the only advantage we have. What's our other advantage? We fight for freedom. They fight for control. History has shown which motivation is stronger. The galaxy was divided now between the old Confederation and the new human protectorate. War was inevitable, but this time, it would be fought between equals. The age of alien dominance was ending, and a new era of galactic democracy was beginning. Admiral Jae-ho Kim looked out at the stars and smiled. 6 months ago, he had been a simple patrol captain. Now he was helping to reshape the galaxy. The iron resolve had indeed ignited fear in first contact with the unknown, but from that fear had grown something better than anyone had imagined. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors of freedom. And the galaxy would never be the same.